Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the one-day international seminar on suicide prevention. Health, Wellbeing and Sustainable Development 2023 on occasion of World Suicide Prevention Day. We welcome and invite you all to the international seminar organized in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Art, Sciences and Wellbeing. Before we start our sessions, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's sessions. Today, September 10th, every year is commemorated as World Suicide Prevention Day, which was initiated by International Association for Suicide Prevention. And the theme for this year, World Suicide Prevention Day, is creating hope through action by encouraging, understanding, reaching in, and sharing experiences. We want to give people the confidence to take action. To prevent suicide requires us to become a beacon of light to those in pain. So you can be the light.
So today, on occasion of World Suicide Prevention Day, let's all together create hope through action and be the beacon of light. We see around the world, across the world, every 40 seconds, a person is attempting an suicide and committing a suicide. That is the magnitude of this issue. We need to focus and commemorate this day to create awareness. Under the theme of creating hope through action, we continue to strive to encourage understanding and compassion by reaching out a helping hand and listening. Before we start our sessions, we express our gratitude and we thank ISP for initiating this wonderful initiative, and we'll start with the message given by the ISP President for the Suicide Prevention Day. So in the meanwhile, we request all the presenters who would like to make a presentation. You can share your topic, name, designation, organization, and your city, place from which you are joining in the chat box to the host and or co-host so that we can invite you for your presentations. And we have also shared the registration link. You can fill it up. We'll be sharing a couple of times. So you can fill the registration form so that you can be eligible for the e-certificate. After each session, a feedback form will be taken on the session. So we request everyone to quickly fill up the feedback form after each session if there is any, and also fill the overall feedback form at the end of the session, all the sessions. The feedback form will be raised in the form of polls, and you can access the polls within the Zoom platform. There will be no external links. So we request everyone to be alert on the screen so that you do not accidentally close the feedback form, because some may be using touch screens.
There is a possibility when you are not on the active on the Zoom screen, you may accidentally close the feedback form after each session. So we request everyone to be proactive, attending the sessions, and also whenever there is a feedback form, the announcement will be made and there will be a break for the feedback so that you can concentrate on the feedback form. So let's take the message before we start our sessions.
The 10th of September is World Suicide Prevention Day. Although suicide prevention should be prioritised each and every day, the 10th is a day when we shine a light on suicide and its prevention. When we come together as a global community to highlight that suicides are preventable. We can be a light to those who are struggling to live, as well as to those who have lost a loved one to suicide. I'm incredibly appreciative of everyone across the globe who is marking this day with us, whether it be through events, through social media, at home or abroad. Every one of you is making a difference and helping us all to move forward towards a brighter future. It is essential that we continue to bridge the gap between policy, research, and practice. It is through working together that we will effectively challenge the devastation of suicide. On World Suicide Prevention Day, we are reminded that people with lived experience of suicide continue to enrich, inform, and strengthen our understanding and our ability to prevent suicide. For this, I am incredibly grateful. Under the theme of creating hope through action, we continue to strive to encourage understanding and compassion by reaching out, by providing a helping hand, or by listening. It is more important than ever that we continue to share these important messages of hope and healing. If you are struggling, please try to remember that suicidal pain is temporary, that things can and do improve. So please hold on. To everyone who is creating hope through your action, thank you for the amazing work that you do today and every day. Thank you.
So with this message to carry forward, we request everyone to keep yourself muted, and at the time of Q&A, there will be an option to unmute, and to watch all the sessions and hear all the sessions, you are requested to connect to the audio and enable video as well. If you have disabled video in your settings, you may not see the video on the screen. If you are not connected to audio, you will not be able to hear the audio. So we request everyone, those who are unable to hear audio, we can also see in the participants list. Some of them have not connected their audio, so they will not be able to listen anything. They will be only able to view the video, the presentations, but they will not be able to hear anything. So you have to connect to the audio, then only you will be able to hear. Connecting to audio video does not enable your mic or camera, but it's a setting required for you to hear and see the presentations and to the speaker. For enabling mic and your camera, there is a different setting where you can enable your mic or camera when the host provides you permissions. So don't worry about that. So by enabling audio and video settings, you are not enabling your unmuting your mic or opening your camera. So there might be, I saw a few messages in chat box that they are unable to hear, they are unable to see anything. As per my observation, I saw that there are some participants who have not connected to their audio. So they might be facing certain issues. So you can quickly connect to your audio so that you can hear it. So we will be starting with a session by Virendra Kumar Thakurji. So he would be presenting on legal aspects of suicide prevention. After a brief intro about World Suicide Prevention Day, an estimated 7 lakhs people a year take their life around the world, and to prevent suicide requires us to become beacon of light to those in pain. So you can be the light at 8 p.m. on World Suicide Prevention Day. Join us in lighting a lamp to show, or a candle, because candle is causing a lot of pollution through toxic fumes. So instead of candle, we are lighting a lamp with organic natural oil, because most of the candles are now made with chemicals which are harmful to the environment. So we will have a virtual lighting of lamp around 8 p.m. or after the end of the sessions, as the time permits. So let's all together show our support for suicide prevention, and also to remember our loved ones, and also for the suicide survivors of the suicide, by lighting a lamp. And also on this day, let's all encourage, let's all understand, and let's all reach in and share our experiences. You might have worked with persons who would like to commit suicide, or who have committed suicide and who had survived, and we might be a friend, a relative, or a family member where a suicide attempt has been made. So on this occasion, we can share our experiences, and also we can be a support that suicide is not a solution for any problem, for any pain, for any challenge. Suicide does not end anything. Suicide only creates lots of other issues to the family members and also to the society. Suicide can affect every one of us by raising awareness, reducing the stigma, and encouraging action. We can help to reduce the instance of suicide around the world. Creating hope through action is a reminder that there is an alternative to suicide. Our actions, no matter how big or small, may provide hope to those who are struggling. So on this occasion, let's create hope through action, and let's all be the light for the one who needs us. You can reach out to the ones who are looking for support or help with few phrases like, "Are you okay? Are you having thoughts about suicide?" Taking time to reach out to someone who could change the course of their life. Suicide remains illegal in over 20 countries. Thanks to the legal provisions and policies that suicide is no more a crime in India. This also addresses certain issues related to suicides, that people are not able to reach out for help or support because suicide being a crime earlier, even if anyone who is committing suicide, being a survivor, if he or she reveals, then he or she will be punished. For that reason also, many survivors and many people or persons who would like to commit suicide are also not able to reach out. But thanks to the reforms that has come in many countries, including India, that now suicide is no longer treated as a crime so that they can happily reach out. In fact, that is the greatest reform to address the suicide, because everyone can go through lots of pain, suffering, trauma, grief at one point or other in our lifetime, because we keep losing our people over a period of time, because aging is a natural process and we keep losing our loved ones. At least once in a lifetime, we may lose our loved ones. It may be a pet, it may be a family member, it may be a close friend, or it may be a close relative, or it may be a person who we admire a lot. It can be a teacher or a professor or a mentor from your school, college, university, or from your organization where you work or where you have previously worked. And as life has ups and downs, at times we may face the good days and the bad days, or the good situations or the bad situations. There is nothing like permanently good or permanently bad. So we need to travel with both the things, how we react to, how we respond to these matter, how we perceive them, how we take them, how we accept matters. As we have seen, as estimated, more than 7 lakh people a year take their life around the world. It is the most disheartening statistics that we are seeing. And these are only just reported numbers. And as we all know, the unreported numbers are quite number of times higher than the reported ones. And often suicide is also not reported as suicide. That is also hinders in reporting and considering suicide as a suicide. There are various challenges that, if time permits, the speakers for the day would disseminate information on it. So without taking much time further, World Suicide Prevention Day, so which was established in 2003 in conjunction with the World Health Organization, which is a significant advocacy and communication-based event aimed at reaching national organizations, government, and the general public, giving a singular message that suicide can be prevented. And this day, World Suicide Prevention Day, is considered an effective tool in these efforts. And World Health Organization report, Preventing Suicide, a Global Imperative, which was released by World Health Organization 2014, marks it as a policy achievement, stating this day has spurred campaigns both nationally and locally, and has contributed to raising awareness and reducing stigma. This World Suicide Prevention Day continues to grow year on year, with recent years seeing the day observed in more than 60 countries, with hundreds of events ranging from educational and commemorative events like this to press briefings and public conferences. The internet and social media coverage also ensured millions of people around the globe, around the world, linked to World Suicide Prevention Day on September 10th. And in 2020, the ISB produced Step Closer film, which was viewed over 30 million times. So recent initiatives that has been taken up across the world has been creating an impact. So as we have different ribbons for different events, World Suicide Prevention Day also launched a universal awareness, suicide prevention awareness ribbon in the hope that suicide prevention awareness ribbon would become a globally recognizable, much like other ribbons for worthwhile causes. Following a review of ribbons and colors used to signify suicide prevention awareness around the world, yellow and orange were the two predominant colors that stood out, and the ribbon was therefore put together with these two colors. The two-toned ribbon is indicative of the light of a lamp or a candle flame, which ties in nicely with the ISP Light a Candle campaign, as well as the candlelight walks that many arranged around the globe for World Suicide Prevention. It also works well with the out of darkness into the light, the ray of hope, arranged by the partner organizations for World Suicide Prevention Day and other activities. The first World Suicide Prevention Day was successfully launched in Stockholm on September 10th, 2003 as an initiative of ISP and the World Health Organization designating the day as a way to focus, as a way of focusing attention on the problems worldwide and confirming the message. IASP, in collaboration with intergovernment agencies, governments, NGOs, international and national associations, clinicians, researchers, and volunteers, use World Suicide Prevention Day as an instrument to promote awareness about suicide and its prevention. In a press release on 10 September 2003, Professor D. Leo went to say, World Suicide Prevention Day aims to put the issue on the agenda globally and regionally, but it also seeks to show that action must be taken locally. And this action starts with you and me. The day underlines the responsibility for all of us to help save lives that may be at stake. It is possible. We can do it. In 2004, World Health Organization again agreed to co-sponsor the day, and World Suicide Prevention Day became an annual event. So various themes since its inception. In 2004, the themes for various years were as follows. Suicide Prevention Day for 2004, the theme was saving lives, restoring hope. And for 2005, the theme was prevention of suicide is everybody's business. And for 2006, the theme is with understanding, new hope. The theme for 2007 was suicide prevention across the lifespan. Theme for 2008 was think globally, plan nationally, act locally. And the theme for 2009, World Suicide Prevention Day, was suicide prevention in different cultures. Theme for 2010 was many faces, many places, suicide prevention across the world. Theme for 2011 was preventing suicide in multicultural societies. Theme for 2012 was strengthening protective factors and instilling hope. The theme for 2013 was stigma, a major barrier to suicide prevention. The theme for 2014 was suicide prevention, One World Connect. And the theme for 2017 was take a minute, change a life. And the theme for 2016 was connect, communicate, and care. And the theme for 2015 is prevent suicide, reaching out, and saving lives. The triannual theme for 2018 to 2020 was working together to prevent suicide. And after that, the triannual theme was creating hope through action, the present theme. Thus, every year and later on, triannually, the theme has been set, which gave the direction on focusing on suicide prevention. So with this short, brief introduction about Suicide Prevention Day, we'll take up few presentations and we'll continue in detail about suicide prevention. So we have with us Virendra Kumar Thakurji, who is assistant professor and also an RTI activist and also an advocate. Is presently working with Govind Vallabh Pant Institute of Engineering and Technology, Uttarakhand. We welcome you, sir, for the World Suicide Prevention Day International Seminar. You can unmute yourself and start your video and your presentation.
Yes. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I will.
You need to adjust your cameras.
Yes. In fact, two cameras are on, so I will have to get the better one.
Okay, I have given both the IDs. Permission. There is some, yeah, we can't see you in this camera. You can see some lines on this.
Yes, I'm changing my camera. Connecting it to different port.
In the meanwhile, any other presenters would like to share, you can share in your details in chat box. We will be taking up after this session.
Yes, now I have connected it on different port. And
Also need to maybe adjust. Yeah, now.
is it okay, sir? Yes, fine. Thank you. Actually, I think that I had connected it on a different port, and that port was not working. Anyway, am I audible, sir?
Yes, sir. Maybe you can little bit move a camera away so that your
Okay,
complete face
sure.
is.
Yes. Okay. So I'm sharing my presentation now.
Can keep your mic a little bit closer to your mouthpiece, sir, so that
Yes.
audio is clear.
Yes. Distance. Yes. At least. I hope my presentation will be visible now.
It's opening.
Yes. Thank you. It will come after network delay of few seconds.
Yeah. Now we can see.
Yes. Thank you. Good evening, all of you. Today is World Suicide Prevention Day. Today is also birth anniversary of Govind Vallabh Pant. He was Bharat Ratna and Home Minister of India. He was even first Premier of Uttar Pradesh. So our institute is named after him, Govind Vallabh Pant Institute of Engineering and Technology. Today we shall see on suicide prevention, collective responsibility, and I will also briefly tell you about the provisions in Indian Penal Code and in the proposed bill on Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita 2023 bill. We shall see 6 legal provisions related to suicide. First, we see the problem definition. Is it moving? Yes. Yes. Oh, it's moving. Okay. So let us see the introduction to the problem. So suicide is a global public health concern that claims the lives of millions of people each year, having a trail of grief and despair in its wake. Just now, Dr. Ravindra sir has told about World Health Organization. So the figures of WHO estimates that approximately 800,000, that is 8 lakh people, die by suicide annually, making it the 10th leading cause of death worldwide, if we see different causes of death. Behind these grim statistics lie stories of pain, helplessness, and suffering, because nobody likes to commit suicide, but it is because of they are unable to face their problems or get help from others that they have to commit suicide. So we have to understand this, why people commit suicide. Where suicide is a preventable tragedy, and it is our collective responsibility to address this issue comprehensively and compassionately. Just now, as Dr. Ravindra sir told, there are many people around us, maybe within our family, or say who are known to us, or our friends or colleagues, and we must have come across some cases where people have committed suicide. And sometimes we also think it as our failure, what we are doing as a member of society to prevent these tragedies or identify what is going on in minds of some people. So we explore the importance of suicide prevention, the factors contributing to it, and the strategies that can help save lives. Now, to understand this issue, suicide is not an isolated event. That is, we come to know about it only when suicide happens, but it's a complex outcome of multiple factors, including mental health disorders. So it is also considered as a disease. There are social and economic pressures, like say farmer suicide, or maybe say suicide by criminals in jail, or say under trials, substance abuse, that is drug addicts, and lack of social support. So these are the prominent factors. It is essential to recognize that suicide does not discriminate. It affects people of all ages, genders, races, and backgrounds. However, certain populations, such as LGBTQ+, that is lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgenders, and queer gender individuals, veterans, and those with a history of mental illness are at a higher risk. So they have certain higher risk factors. One of the most crucial aspects of suicide prevention is understanding the warning signs, because these are the symptoms from which we can understand about these people and the risk factors. So these can include a sudden change in behavior, like say people becoming suddenly isolated or living in isolation, having no connection or communication with others, withdrawal from friends and family, maybe having no social media interaction or no last seen signs, giving away possession, talking about feeling hopeless or trapped, and previous suicide attempts. So these are the say symptoms or signs that we can find out. Identifying these signs and taking them seriously can be crucial in saving lives. Now, we see what are the prevention strategies. We consider 8 different strategies in this. First is promoting the mental health awareness, because it is the optimism that gives rise to say our say longevity, or our say, will to live, that is lacking in some people, and it could be because of pessimism. So mental health awareness is very important. One of the most effective ways to prevent suicide is by reducing the stigma surrounding mental health issues. Encouraging open conversations about mental health and seeking professional help when needed can help individuals access the support and treatment they require. So never stop communication, like stopping conversation with somebody, or say blocking, or say preventing somebody to communicate. These are now the signs on social media, but we should not say close the channels of communication or conversation with anybody. Howsoever say bad the relation may be. Secondly, the access to mental health services. So governments and healthcare systems should prioritize mental health services, making them affordable and accessible to all. Now the word say pagal, lunatic, these are not used legally, and even say as per the Mental Health Care Act 2017, they are considered as patients. Even in the new say Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita bill, 2023 and Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita 2023, that is the new IPC and CRPC of India, the word mental illness is used instead of the, say, lunatic or mentally unsound persons. So they are treated as victims and, say, patients rather than criminals. Early intervention and treatment for mental health disorders can significantly reduce the risk of suicide. So these intervention measures are needed, and psychological treatment, that is, say, we can say rather psychiatric treatment, because psychology is a branch of art, but psychiatry is a branch of medicine. So this even treatment may be necessary from, say, psychologists as well as psychiatrists in some cases. Now, the third one is education and training. So providing education and training on suicide prevention to healthcare professionals, teachers, parents, and the general public is vital. Nowadays, there are so many videos on, say, YouTube on, say, mental health as well as suicide prevention. This training equips individuals with the knowledge and skills to identify warning signs and intervene appropriately. See, such people are amongst us, but sometimes we fail to identify, and sometimes we close the communication channel. And when only suddenly some event happens, at that time we come to know across such things. So this should not happen. We should be able to identify, before the event happens. So there is education and training is essential. Next, we see there are crisis helplines. There is one interesting case that see, people now search on Google for everything, and one person wanted to search on Google. This is a real case. How to commit suicide? That is, he wanted some guidance regarding what is the least painful way of commit suicide. And surprisingly, Google did not tell any say ways to commit suicide, but it gave some helpline numbers. So the person just dialed the helpline number, and he got good guidance from there, and that way the suicide was prevented. So instead of telling people how to commit suicide or the ways to commit suicides, even Google is, say, so much aware, maybe say by artificial intelligence, or maybe say it's a social responsibility, that it doesn't tell the ways to commit suicide, but it rather gives the helpline numbers, because it knows that people who are searching for the ways to commit suicide could be in need of some help. So establishing crisis helplines and support services can provide a lifeline to those in immediate distress. And this one example from Google was a very surprising story, because we may not have heard anything like this before, that even search engines can help prevent suicide for people who are searching the ways. Services like the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline in the United States have proven effective in saving lives. So this is one example in US, and many other countries also have such helplines. Then restricting access to means, that is, restricting access to lethal means of suicide, such as firearms and certain medications, can reduce the likelihood of impulsive suicide attempt. Even in some tourist places where people jump across the bridges or jump into the river, you'll find that there are some, say, optimistic messages or some messages that are written so that people don't jump from the bridges to commit suicide. So these types of, say, preventive measures are also taken at the spots which have been identified from where many people commit suicides. So restricting access to the such means to commit suicide, that is one important step. Then community-based approaches. So building strong communities where individuals feel connected and supported can be a protective factor against suicide. So there should be some strong community, that is a type of undivided society where all of us are feeling connected to our near, say, or immediate family members, our friends, and to our workplace and to society at large. That is a protective factor against suicide, because isolation or cutting off communication is one of the important signs or signals of suicide. Programs that encourage social engagement and community support can be effective, because if we feel that we are, say, useful to the society, it gives us great satisfaction that we are a part of society and we are fulfilling our social say, responsibility. So social engagement and community support, this can be very effective. This is a big problem because of small size, say, nuclear families, or even, say, broken families. That is the problem, and because of this, people turn towards the juvenile delinquency, criminality, and even suicide in some cases. If there are large families, if there are more community support, then it can be prevented. Then coming to the youth. So youth suicide prevention. So recognizing the unique challenges faced by young people, schools and communities should implement comprehensive suicide prevention programs tailored to their needs. So particularly among the school children, that is building too much pressure of competition or insisting on first rank. The first rank can be obtained only by one student in a class. It doesn't mean that if other 59 students or all the other students are useless. So such type of say extreme pressure. Just now we saw the case in say Kota, our say coaching capital in India, from where people are trained for IITs and exams. So they found that say there were 22 suicide cases in a year, and even for 2 months, the chief minister had to give orders that there shall not be any tests, because see, all students cannot be number one. So we should strive towards excellence, not towards competition or how others fare, because there is no end to competition. It is dependent on others, while excellence can be achieved by everybody. So there should be emphasis on understanding the contents rather than being in number one in the class, because in any case, there will always be only one person or there could be a tie. So all people can never be number one. So we have to see this reality rather than say madness for competition. And then we come to the last one, that is the 8th way, that is post-prevention support or say post-intervention. That is after a suicide occurs, providing support to the bereaved is essential to prevent further suicides among those affected by the loss. So support groups and counseling services can help individuals cope with the aftermath. Because, and even in some cases, a person who commits or attempts to commit suicide can do that attempt again and again. So therefore, this post-prevention or post-intervention, or we can say post-prevention support, is very necessary. Next, we come to some legal provisions. First, we see the older provisions, that is of Indian Penal Code 1860, that is still valid. And then we shall see the latest provisions that are introduced in the Lok Sabha, in the Parliament of India on the 11th August. So first we see the IPC provisions. There are 3 provisions. First is the abatement of suicide of child or insane person, section 305. So if any person under 18 years of age, any insane person, any delirious person, any idiot, see, these are the old words that were used in India: delirious person, idiot. Now we use mentally ill person, or any person in a state of intoxication commits suicide. Whoever abates the commission of such suicide shall be punished with death or imprisonment for life, or imprisonment for a term not exceeding 10 years, and shall also be liable to fine. So this earlier there was the word transportation for life. Now the transportation is not there, because it was called Kala Pani in India, but now Andaman, Nicobar and these islands have become tourist spots. So transportation is not a punishment. It has been repealed from the Indian Penal Code. So instead of that, the imprisonment for life was substituted in section 305. Other 2 important sections are 306 and 309. So let us see these sections also. 306 is abatement. That is, if somebody says asks other person to commit abatement itself is an offense. That is, if person himself does not commit crime, but wants other to commit crime, that is called abatement. In Hindi, dushpreran, which is punishable in under section 107 of IPC. So if any person commits suicide, whoever abates the commission of such suicide shall be punished with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 10 years, and shall also be liable to fine. So for insane person or child, there is greater punishment. One, say, it could be death penalty or life punishment, or say in case of abatement of suicide of others, it is up to 10 years. And then we come to 309. This 309 was a very say, we can say, ineffective provision, and now that has been, it is proposed to be dropped from IPC. Let us see what this provision is or was. Whoever attempts to commit suicide and does any act towards the commission of such offense shall be punished with simple imprisonment for a term which may extend to 1 year, or with fine, or with both. This is a very surprising, or say very strange provision, because if somebody succeeds, then that person can't be punished, because that person has already been punished and he is dead. So if somebody is successful, that person can't be punished. But if some person has failed in successfully committing suicide, what we can say, successfully committing suicide, then that person is treated as a criminal and he is liable to imprisonment of 1 year. That means, is this provision or was this provision really effective in preventing suicide, or does it prompt people to commit suicide successfully? That was very doubtful, and therefore this was very controversial provision, and therefore now it is proposed to be dropped. So this is in IPC. Next we see three provisions of Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, the new IPC of India. So the bill has been referred to the standing committee. In standing committee of Lok Sabha, there are 2 representatives of each political party, and bill is likely to become an act in say next winter session of the parliament, maybe in say December or later. A new next session is in September, but that is only 5-day session, and this bill is likely to be proposed, to become an act in the winter session, maybe in 3 to 4 months. Let us see the new provision. Section numbers have been changed. So abatement of suicide of child or person with mental illness. Now see the word idiot and these words have been dropped. So if any person under 18 years of age, any person with mental illness, any delirious person, that is maybe in delirium of say some drug or maybe narcotic drug, that is delirious person, or any person in a state of intoxication commits suicide, whoever abets the commission of such suicide shall be punished with death or imprisonment for life or imprisonment for a term not exceeding 10 years and shall also be liable to fine. As we can see, the word mental illness is the new word that is used, and the word idiot is dropped, except that the provision, that is the punishment, remains the same. Section number is changed. Next we come to section 106, abatement of suicide. So except minor children and say other these persons with mental illness, abatement of suicide of all other persons. So if any person commits suicide, whoever abets the commission of such suicide shall be punished with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 10 years and shall also be liable to fine. This provision is same as the previous one. That is under 306. Now it has become section. It will become section 106. It is a clause 106 of the bill. When it becomes an act after passing by the parliament and getting assent of the president, it will become section 106. Next we come to a new section. It was not there in IPC, but now that is proposed to be a new section in this new act or the bill. Section 234, attempt to commit suicide to compel or restrain exercise of lawful power. So the older section 309 is say dropped, and instead of this, a new section has been introduced. Whoever attempts to commit suicide with the intent to compel or restrain any public servant from discharging his official duty shall be punished with simple imprisonment for a term which may extend to 1 year, or with fine, or with both, or with community service. Community service is a new type of punishment that is introduced, proposed to be introduced in the new IPC, that is the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. So when this becomes an act, this section 234 will also be there. So instead of attempt to commit suicide, it will be attempt to commit suicide to compel or restrain exercise of lawful power. That is, we can say the language has been quite changed in the new proposed bill. So these are the legal provisions, 3 legal provisions of IPC and 3 legal provisions of Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita Bill 2023. So finally, we conclude. Suicide prevention is a multifaceted challenge that requires a collaborative effort from individuals, communities, healthcare systems, and government. It is not solely the responsibility of mental health professionals, but a shared commitment to creating a society where everyone feels valued, supported, and able to seek help when needed. That is, we should not do over evaluation or under evaluation or otherwise evaluation of anybody, but it's our duty to rightly evaluate every person around us so that we are able to motivate them. By promoting mental health awareness, ensuring access to mental health services, and implementing evidence-based prevention strategies, we can work together to save lives and reduce the devastating impact of suicide on individuals, families, and communities. So remember that suicide is preventable and every life is worth saving. So we end here. Thank you all for listening to me. I'd be glad to answer any questions on this, if any. Thank you, Dr. Ravindra, for giving me this opportunity to make the presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Virendra Kumarji. You have been a great resource for this entire series, and you have been providing continuously legal awareness about various aspects. Participants, if you have any queries, you can feel free to ask, which is related to the session. You can raise your hand or you can unmute yourself and ask anything related to this specific session. Feel free to unmute yourself or use chat box if there are any. Okay, I think the way sir presents is always very in detail in simple terms. So there are only appreciation messages in the chat box, but I don't see any query. So thank you, Virendra Kumarji, and also all the participants who are sharing your comments in the chat box. Appreciation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thanks to Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute and Center for Arts, Science and Wellbeing for giving me this opportunity to make this presentation. Thanks to all the participants for patiently listening. Thank you very much. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. We wish you all the success for your future endeavors and look forward for more sessions in coming events. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So with this wonderful presentation, we have seen how even the legal framework and the legal policies are changing, legal approach, even from the legal institutions and constitution and the governments are changing. It's a very good move that we are able to see that drastic changes are happening. So mostly in the coming days, we would be able to address more effectively. Not only that, we, as Virendra Kumarji has said, the recent, I also saw recently when I was doing a counseling session, as Virendra Kumarji also rightly pointed out, this Rajasthan, Kota and other areas. So one of the client where we are having sessions, he just referred, because this was just contextual, Half CA, a web series was launched, which also, portrays the kind of intensity, the green, like our Virendra Kumarji has mentioned, there also the entire, the competition, the kind of competition. Of course, these all series, movies and are focused on various commercial elements, aspects. But, one kind that is media is also focusing, though not completely on it, but a part which is, focusing on these issues. So I think anyone who has the habit of watching web series or kind of movies, you can watch this Half CA. It's all about an institution. A couple of institutions which are training these CAs. Of course, there are many institutions across the world, and certain places are very famous. They are known as the capital cities for, civils training and CS training. And there are hubs, certain educational hubs in the city where there is a huge pressure, not only on the students, but also on the parents. In spite of knowing the student is not able to perform or able to cope up, but, parents are also having high expectations and aspirations without understanding, not able to take the perspective of their children, they are at times forcing them. Of course, no parents wants their children, but looking at the bright futures which has been portrayed in the society, it was earlier times we see, only certain professions enjoyed a very good position, very good salary, very good income. But we have seen over a period of time, there are certain professions which are evergreen, like, basic skill trades like ITI, diploma engineering. More than engineering, those highly qualified. Today, there is a huge demand for ITI, skillsmen, tradesmen. Similarly, even we have huge demand for doctors and also other engineers, civil, mechanical, even textile, and even in life sciences. These are evergreen. They don't change because as long as human beings are there, they are going to be there. And apart from that, along with traditional arts, life sciences, social sciences, and information sciences, today we have a lot more opportunities with the advent of internet, information, communication technologies, and also even arts, performing arts, theater arts, music, and with advent of these social media and online streaming sites and these platforms, media streaming platforms, nowadays we see everyone has an opportunity. Even if you have some talent, you can show it on YouTube, on various channels, Instagram, Facebook. So there is no dearth for the opportunities in whatever you take up, whatever you pursue. Only the point where we have concern or challenges is, how far you will be able to take it up to that extent. Otherwise, in every avenue, every domain, every vertical, we have a lot of opportunities. So we need to explore ourselves. We need to open up ourselves, and we need to develop certain skills. As Virendra Kumarji rightly said, communication is very important. We should always keep communication open, no matter what. Even in the worst cases, we should never close the channels of communication. It is very important. It may be with some person or with some organization. We should always have, maybe even the most unwanted, unwarranted thing might have also happened. But that shouldn't prevent us, to communicate further. Actually, this is the main problem, major problem, not only for suicide, but also for various other aspects, where, lack of communication, not only just with intrapersonal, interpersonal communication. No, intrapersonal communication is also important. We don't communicate at times with ourselves. We need to have conversation within ourselves and also with others. And not everything should be taken to heart. No hard, we should be very careful with the hard feelings or soft feelings. Because things keeps changing, things keep changing, times keep changing, society keeps changing. We are seeing, and the change is inevitable, and situations are changing, contexts are changing, so people are also changing. Change is inevitable, so we need to accept, we need to adapt to the change. At least to a certain extent, that it is not going to bother to that extent that it hinders our day-to-day activities or our normal routine activities and life process. Most of the time we see, most of the cases, the suicide is an impulsive decision taken at that moment because they are unable to reach someone at that moment who can hear to them. Even some studies also were conducted on suicide helplines. Even we see a lot of earlier, initially it was 24/7 helplines, but later on most of the helplines doesn't work. Even when I was in psychology department, on the eve of, on the occasion of World Suicide Prevention Day, once I personally, along with my team, we called all the suicide helpline numbers which were listed. We vouched on internet and we searched almost, for the entire day. We list out all the NGOs who were running suicide help numbers. This was quite long back, not now. I am sharing one experience. So, and we wanted to really see, because we were planning for World Suicide Prevention Day in our department. So we thought we will give it a try and see how many are actually working, how many are accessible in the very first place, actually how many exist, how many helplines exist, and where they are functioning, how they are functioning, in what time they are functioning. Because that was to create a database, to create a reference so that we can share that information on the occasion of World Suicide Prevention Day, because we were planning to share some literature also to the students and other people, online and offline, in the campus and also through online. So we were trying to collect all the resources who can help us, including helpline numbers in various states in India. Unfortunately, we found that 75% of all the helplines were non-functional. They're somehow, because it's a suicide helpline, and as also our previous speaker has spoke, various social media platforms and even Google search engine or other search engines like Yahoo or whatever it is, being search engine, they are as part of their corporate social responsibility or social initiatives, they are listing out them irrespective of their performance or, irrespective of how they are functioning, where they are functioning. They are also trying to list out when they search, they are providing these details. Even if you can also Google and you can also try. Maybe this is the activity, everyone can do it and find out actually how many helplines are working and in what timings. There are few, when we looked up few cases, suicide cases, we saw that people tried to reach these helplines and, unfortunately they couldn't reach, no one picked up. Some of the phones were completely out of order. The numbers that did not exist or no longer functioning, or some, they said we don't, some even didn't pick up. Some said, kindly call in the specific timings only. And some, they said it's a wrong number. We no longer, this is not the right number. So this a kind of, when say suppose one person is looking for some help and no one is picking up the call, that agitates him or her more. In that impulse moment, anything can happen. And that also aggravates his or her pain, suffering, or anxiety, or impulsivity. That's why it's very important when one is, especially we found these concerns, the suicide helplines, they should be very clear about their timings, their functioning. Many don't work on holidays, Sundays, and some only function for few couple of hours a day, and some don't work on weekends, and some don't work on full-time basis, only part-time, and some even they respond also, they do not have adequate knowledge. At least there are many helplines which save. So that is always, we appreciate the efforts of suicide helplines, and even nowadays government helplines for various purposes, including 100, 101, 102, whatever the helplines are there, they are also centralized and connected to each other. Even if you dial a wrong helpline also, they are trying to help, or at least they are trying to provide information where to reach out. So that kind of integration is appreciated, but still has to improve. There is always a scope for improvement for everyone, including me and any other organization. There is always scope for improving everyone, for me, you, and for that matter, any organization. So, in that case, we need to have a database, updated database, where we can reach out for help and support. And also, we need to have certain systems in place where a family member or a friend should be a non-judgmental, open-hearted, open-minded, who can reach out to the people who are in need. Often, many times we see within the families, nowadays it has become quite common with more and more engagement with electronic gadgets. We are not even properly communicating with our own family members. It is like we all are together in the same room, maybe on the same sofa, or maybe in the same space, but still we all are immersed in our own gadgets. That is lacking the social interaction within the family and also within the distant relatives, friends. And more time we are spending online. Online with the friends, those who are completely alien to us. I mean, we don't know anything about them, or we know only what they want us to know. Because how do we know someone online? Only by checking their profiles or whatever they have shared it online. Only we'll go through the profiles and we'll see, okay, what is this person about? And by his online activities, and by making a profile that based on his likes or his sharings or experiences or whatever he's doing activities, we can create a profile, or we can just make out a profile and make an analysis or a prediction of that person. But still, we are completely not aware of that person. And as you know, there is a very well said, genuine, I'm not able to recollect that exact thing. But genuine people don't care of their, image. Only the fake people or those who want to misrepresent themselves are very much concerned about their image, or, their all kind of social image, or the kind of image they create. So they are perfect in everything because, they want everything in perfect so that no one has any doubt or any kind of suspicion on them. So nowadays that the world is like that. Lot of grandiosity is required, lot of self-boosting about themselves or about their activities, lot of, kind of grandiosity that is, everyone is trying to, show the richness of whatever they are doing. So this creates a lot of competition among individuals, among organizations, among communities, among societies. Everyone is trying to, create a kind of environment where everyone wants to self-boost themselves. That is creating a lot of pressure, which is far from reality. Everyone cannot be on the same plane, right? We all have our own resources, and based on these resources, we are either comparatively higher or lower than some others. And it is only, basically a comparison that should not be done, but it is being done. So that is creating a lot of stress and anxiety. We are not able to accept what it is as it is. Once we start accepting what we are, what it is, how it is, then there is very less scope for stress and anxiety. Having unrealistic expectations, having not able to adjust, not able to adapt, or demanding everything or anything or something without proper understanding is creating a lot of issues. So these are the various major factors that is accounting to suicide. Apart from that, as already mentioned by earlier speaker, there are various causes also, like physiological, like, obese, thin, fat, body shaming, and, other pain, suffering, illness, disease, color, race, ethnicity, and all these things which somehow reflect on our physical, characteristics, or maybe our ability, maybe disabilities, are various physiological factors, and social factors, economical factors or financial factors, psychological factors, cultural factors. A lot of factors also influence, because when we start comparing with each other, there might be cultural differences, there may be social differences, physiological differences between a person and person. So that creates a lot of stress. We are unable to identify, and we are unable to, even after identifying that, understanding that, we are not able to accept, appreciate the differences, individual differences, and accept it and adapt to it. That is causing a lot of stress and anxiety. So we need to understand various symptoms of suicide. We need to reach out to professionals who can help us, who can support us. So one such resource to reach out is iCall helpline, which is managed by TISS and UNFPA in collaboration. iCall is a full form for initiating concern for all. As mental health facilities in India are still quite insufficient owing to the limited number of services being offered, as well as the inadequate number of trained and supervised professionals, and TISS, since its inception, has always taken a lead in addressing the social work, social sciences, and psychosocial needs of the individuals across various groups, and has adopted diverse strategies and solutions to address these needs, and has launched various programs to train and develop human resources. iCall is one such step taken in this direction of mental health work. And iCall, Initiating Concern for All, is a pioneering and an empowering mental health project which was started in 2012 by School of Human Ecology, Tata Institute of Social Sciences, Mumbai. iCall endeavors to provide professional and free counseling through technology-assisted mediums such as telephone, email, and chat to anyone in need of emotional support, irrespective of age, gender, sexual orientation, or race, and transcending geographical distances while ensuring confidentiality. It works from Monday to Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. and the number is 91-529-87821. iCall is primarily funded by Mariwala Health Initiative, MHI, since April 2015. Mariwala Health Initiative is the leading funding body in the field of mental health in India, aligns itself with the rights-based approach, and aspires to create a holistic and universally accessible mental health ecosystem by funding mental health organizations that work on innovative, community-based interventions targeting the most marginalized and the vulnerable. Helpline counseling is not traditional form of providing mental health support. It helps in eliminating geographical limitations and is free and is completely confidential, and with advancement of technology, accessing this help has become easier, as said by iCall. So iCall services are run by professionals, trained counselors from Monday to Saturday, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. iCall has also partnerships and collaborations with academic institutions, corporates, government and non-government bodies. Faculty from the School of Human Ecology are involved in the advisory capacity in the project, such as recruiting of counselors, training and monitoring and evaluation of the service delivery. So what you will get when you call iCall? Professional counseling services from counselors who are qualified and trained to provide skilled mental health services. And you will be, when you call, you will be connected to the counselor immediately. You will not encounter a busy tone or IVR during work hours, and will be connected to a counselor immediately. So kindly note the timings. It's only from Monday to Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. And there is complete anonymity. You do not need to share your name or any personal identifying information about yourself. And you will experience patient listening, non-judgmental treatment. You can talk to them about any issue bothering or affecting you without the fear of being judged by the counselors. And there will be a consistent support. They will be there to support you till you feel empowered to deal with your own situation or issues. ICOL also conducts workshops and training for corporates, educational institutions, government agencies, NGOs, and is partnered with the content and length of these workshops and trainings based on specific needs of these organizations. You can also reach out for trainings and workshops and mental health outreach activities for institutions via conferences, events, posters, brochures, and talks, free newsletters for the public at large, which aim at creating awareness building and preventive work, and social media outreach addressing mental health awareness for public at large, employee assistance programs for corporates or institutions. There is also a special focus on marginalized sections of our societies like women facing violence, children facing abuse, LGBTQI community, socially, economically marginalized groups, and survivors of mental illness, and so on. So you can reach out to this helpline, or you can share this helpline number with your friends or family members so that you have it handy. So how do we approach for suicide prevention? We'll take up the next session and we will look at various initiatives or, provisions and approaches. So we have with us Matt Perleston from EQ for Peace International, USA. He has been consistently, persistently working on emotional intelligence and various other related subjects. And we are very fortunate to have Mr. Matt on our platform number of times and have contributed immensely on this subject of emotional intelligence. So we welcome you, Mr. Matt, once again, our good friend of all of us on this occasion of World Suicide Prevention Day. And we would like to hear from you your valuable contribution on this occasion. Over to you. Welcome, Matt. You can unmute yourself and proceed with your presentation. Thank you for accepting our invitation and joining us. Over to you.
Sure. Yeah, all right. Nice to see you, Dr. Ravindra, and thank you for having me. Thanks, Mary, for inviting me. Look, I'm glad you're still doing this and you're trying to help the world like I am. So we're on the same team, trying to teach people how to deal with themselves and deal with their emotions so that they can, so they don't have to go killing themselves, hopefully. So this is my presentation is about emotional education. I believe that if we can educate kids and teens and adults and everyone, then they can learn how to deal with themselves and they won't have to take severe action like they're doing. So I am going to share my screen here just a second. Let me get this going, get situated. I got a PowerPoint. I've got too many slides. As always, this stuff is real simple, but it's not easy. And there's a lot to it. There's so much that we don't know about our emotions. And so I have quite a few slides, so I'm going to go quickly. I suggest maybe that you turn on the closed captioning. It helps you helps go along because I'm going quickly, and I also have a pneumonia right now along with my cancer, and so I keep coughing and my nose is running, and so I apologize for that, but it helps. It makes it a little bit difficult to understand me sometimes. See, so all right, let's talk about emotional intelligence and positive mental health. Positive mental health. We can be positive with our mental health. We can learn how to do it better. So here we go. We're going to try and introduce you to the power of emotional intelligence and positive mental health. And it's good news. This is very good news, you guys. There's a lot of bad news going on, and I'll talk about that a little bit, but there's some good. This is really, really good news. It's simple, like I said, but it ain't easy. Some of this stuff is really difficult, but it is because they're emotions. They're painful and they're uncomfortable and they're mushy and all that. And but if we can deal with them, if we learn how to deal with them, then we can take control of our own lives, and that is a big deal. And I'm hoping, and my experience has been that as people feel like they have more control over their own life, then they don't feel like they have to be out of here and commit suicide. So that's a very big deal. I'll give you some basic tools, real basic, and try to go quickly through those. There's tons of them, but I'll give you some of the most important ones. I'm hoping that you will start living a more emotionally intelligent life, more emotional focus, give it more priority. Your study after study after study is showing that our emotions matter so much more than we ever imagined before. And so if we give them more priority and give them more credibility, we could do some amazing things. Really amazing things so with our lives. And if you would, most people don't know about this, so if you would share this with other people, that would be great. They don't know, and they don't know that they don't know, and that's a bad thing. So we got to kind of jump up and down about it. That's what I'm doing here in the middle of the night, trying to help spread the word. We got to share it with other people. So like I said, there's bad news and there's some good news. I'm going to start with the bad news, and then we'll go up from there. This is positive, right? We'll spin it positive. Bad news is that violence and abuse and addictions and suicides and divorce and all that are going up. They're all going up. COVID was awful for us, and it's still here. It's back again. In fact, in the United States, we are social beings. We want to be together. COVID's forced us apart. And that we get left with just our thoughts and our feelings. And if we don't know how to deal with those, warning, that's not going to go well. It hasn't gone well, and it's getting worse. So I'm going to try and help you get some tools on how to handle this stuff, because it's not going well. Like I said, mental health issues are bad, physical health also, and they're now connecting our emotions with our physical health, and that's a very big deal. I'll talk a little bit about that. Crime is going up and it's getting worse, especially here in the United States, as the prices of everything's going up. They can't afford anything. They don't know how to deal with stuff, and they don't know how to deal with their emotions, and so it's ugly. Gets ugly. So it's ugly and getting worse. Here's a statistic I found this morning on suicides in India. Look at that. Look at this graph. This is awful, and you probably know this already, but it's bad. It's bad, and it's avoidable. I just got off. The reason I'm late is I got off another webinar, and they were saying their claim is that every suicide is avoidable. I think most of them are. I really believe that. It was from Punjab University in Chandigarh, and that's their belief. I mostly agree. So we don't learn about this stuff. We don't know. We are not taught how to manage our inner world in schools. There's very little formal education. I was very disappointed with my education because I went all the way through college and I'm like, what? I don't know. I know all this cool stuff about how to get a job and great information and logical stuff, but what about me? Well, I don't know how to deal with me. I don't know how to deal with you. I don't know how to, I was still a mess. And that's partly my fault, but I was like, wow, I just went through all this schooling and I didn't learn hardly anything about myself. And so that our nonprofit EQ for Peace is trying to get emotional education into schools everywhere. And so that it's just wrong that kids aren't taught, that you weren't probably, I wasn't taught about me. That's just like, hello. Anyway, so we didn't talk about it in school. We didn't get formal education. We don't talk about it at home because our parents didn't know about it either, and they still don't. I've talked to my parents about it, and they're like, what? We don't know how to deal with our emotions. We never talk about that stuff. You don't talk about that thing, those stuff. Like, well, yeah, you better. You better. So and then we certainly better not deal with emotions at work, right? Oh my goodness, right? So where are we supposed to learn this stuff? How do we learn it? We learn it we just make it up and do the best we can as we go along and fumble through, and it's not working very well. It's not working. People are dying literally to know what we know about emotional intelligence and how to deal with our own inner world. That's awful. There's a lot of stuff being passed down through generations, negatives, generational trauma, it's called, where our grandparents and our parents treated each other horribly, and it passed it on down to you and me, and we got to stop it somewhere. One of us has got to stop it somewhere and not pass it to our kids and their kids. Yesterday I got to spend the day with my daughter and her two and 4-year-old daughters. So I had 2 granddaughters, and they are fantastic. They're just wonderful, loving, sharp little girls, because my daughter grew up with this. My wife and I have been teaching this stuff for her whole entire life, and so we brought her up with good emotions. She knows a lot about her emotions, and she's taught it to her kids, and it's wonderful to watch. It's really great. They're talking about. They're just openly talking about, I'm angry at you, Dad, because you won't let me da-da-da. It's like, I'm sorry, I don't want you to be angry at me, but I want to keep you safe. And she's like, oh, okay, I understand. It's so cool that you can make this real in your lives, and to watch the kids doing that. It's just heartwarming for me. They're now going into, there's a whole bunch of research now, especially in the United States, on connecting adverse childhood experiences, which are traumas that happened to us as a kid. And they found that, you ready? Here's a big shocker. Ready? If you had a bad childhood, you're probably going to have a bad adulthood. Oh, if you had some bad stuff happen to you as a child, probably bad stuff's going to happen to you as an adult. It's not a shocker, but what they making that connection is huge, because, as you know, the medical community is where big bucks are, and we're making it that makes it viable and important in doctors and hospitals, and like anyway, it's all the way up in government. Surgeon General of the United States is involved in it, and they're finding that the connection between these different areas of trauma that happened to you as a child, the more of these you have, the more likely you are to have severe problems as an adult, including behavioral problems, mental health, like smoking, drinking, unsafe sex, stuff like that, risky behaviors. You're probably going to do those. You're probably going to have mental health issues, anxiety, depression, bipolar, those kind of things. Some of it's physical, but some of it is mental or is learned. And so the more stuff that happened to you as a child, the more likely you are to have these problems, and severe medical problems. Look at this chart right here. Here's this one is where this one. Look, and jumping here. Sorry. So this one here. Yeah. So look at these are medical problems, and see the result. If you had one, it's just yes or no questions. If you had one of those adult traumas as a child, you're somewhat likely to have some of these. But the more you had, if you had 4 or more of them, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. There's some stuff going to happen to you that is not going to go well. So anyway. So we're saying that the lack of emotional intelligence could be the biggest problem in the world today. I think it is, and other people agree with me that because it's affected us in so many ways that we had no idea before. So here's the good news. They're teachable skills. Happiness, success, and peace are teachable skills. They're teachable skills. So we are in control of our inner world. We're in control of ourselves. We have our thoughts, our feelings, our decisions, our actions, our values, our motivations, our attitudes, all that stuff, our moods, all that stuff are ours. We're in control of all of those, and not just part of it, but all of them. And because we are in control of them, we can change them. We can affect them. It's not that the people did it to us. It's that it's how we take it and what we do with it inside of us. No matter what happens outside of us, we have the power to control what happens inside of us. It's not our parents. It's not the government. It's not the environment. It's not the economy. It's not the school. It's us. It's us. And that is really good news. They're doing what they're doing. And stuff's going to happen, and bad things are going to happen. We don't have that much control over stuff that's happening outside of us, but we have a ton of control about what happens inside of us. And that is super good news. It was a life changer for me. And that's why I'm here right now, jumping up and down about this, saying, hey, you can change it. If you don't like it, you can change it. You made it in the first place, so you can change it if you don't like it. And that is very, very cool. In fact, if you don't take anything away from this whole thing of me running my mouth on this thing, take this one thing, is that you have what we call emotional responsibility, meaning you are in charge of you. You are in charge of you. We also call it an internal locus of control, LOCUS, locus. Internal locus of control means I'm in charge of me. You don't have an external locus. It's not that they're making me do this. Nobody makes you angry. Nobody hurts your feelings. You do that. And that's good news. That's good news. They just do what they do and say what they say and whatever, right, that's going on. How I take it and what I do with it, that's up to me. That's up to me. They didn't do it to me. I'm doing it to me, and I can change it. We are actually born with everything we need to have a happy, healthy, successful life. We just don't know how to do it. We don't know how to do it. So it's a training and education issue. So emotional intelligence education is what I'm talking about here. It's about being smart with our heart, being smart with our thoughts and our feelings and our emotions and our actions, and studying ourselves and being able to manage ourselves. Big deal. Aristotle said educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all. That's a little bit severe, but you get the idea. He's saying it matters. It matters to learn about yourself and your heart, how it works. Emotional education was started, it got popular. It wasn't started, but it got popular from Daniel Goleman's book, Emotional Intelligence, back in 1995. He said why emotional intelligence can matter more than IQ. Most people know about their IQ, their left brain IQ, and that's your logic and your reason and stuff. And he's saying emotional intelligence can matter more than that. I say we need to balance them. It's not more, we need to balance them. They're equally important. We got two sides of our brain. Use both of them. He's saying that the basic domains of emotional intelligence are self-awareness, awareness first. We can't do anything until we're aware. So we got to be aware of ourselves. Then we manage ourselves. What are you going to do with this information, right? What are you going to do with this? Then social awareness is I have thoughts and feelings. You have thoughts and feelings. Oh, no kidding. And we can kind of get a grip on what other people are thinking and feeling, also being aware of that. And then relationship management means I'm thinking my thoughts and feelings are important to me. Well, guess what? They're important to them too. And if we will shut up and listen to people and ask them what they're talking about or what matters to them, what they're thinking or feeling, and shut up and listen to the answer and make it important to us what they're thinking and feeling, they like that a lot. And so you become very, very valuable to them and important to them. And it makes you easy to talk to and a safe person to be around. And that's a big deal. That's a big deal. So try it. So self-awareness is me. I'm aware of myself. I can manage myself. I'm aware of you, and I can manage my relationships with you. So it's basically me, and me, but it's me about me and me about you. So you get the idea. So this used to be kind of cool information, warm, fuzzy stuff that was nice to have, soft skills, we call them. But nowadays, with COVIDs and all the stuff going on in the world, this is critical, life-saving coping mechanism stuff kind of thing. So this is really important. We don't learn about it in school, work at home. We're born with everything we need. We just need to learn how to use it. We just got to learn how to use it, emotional education. So that's what we're trying to do, is to get emotional education into schools and home and work and everywhere around, so people can understand it better, because nobody knows how to do this, and we don't talk about it. And so we need to. So we're calling it positive mental health. Okay. Emotional intelligence is the how things work, like the science of it, how our synapses work, how our prefrontal cortex works, and our amygdala and that kind of stuff. Those are all real, and they're true, and they're critical, and they're important. But it doesn't necessarily tell us how to do with it. What do I do with it? We have what we call the so what test. So this is what my synapses do. We're like, okay, that's nice. So what do I do about that? Well, that's positive mental health. That's more of a skill and a competency. And it's what do I do? What's most important to me? How do I handle myself and my relationships better, in a more positive way? Positive mental health based on positive psychology. Dr. Martin Seligman from the University of Pennsylvania, they used to do therapy for hundreds of years, thousands of years, whatever, was to help people deal with their negatives. People go to therapy to deal with issues or problems, disorders, etc. And the goal of therapy was to get it back to normal. So that's basically negative back to zero. He said, wait, why do we have to stop there? We can keep going. We could go above. We could do positive. We could go from negative to normal, and then back to, and even more, do better with our negatives. With our lives, if we can deal with our negatives. So that's what positive mental health is about. If we can deal with our pain, our fear, our anger, our sadness, our depression, our anxiety, our guilt, our shame, all that stuff, if we could deal with that stuff, and we do need to deal with that stuff, it's real. That's a real thing. And we have to deal with them all sometimes. But if we can deal with them, we can come back up, and we can keep going, and we can end up more positive and learn better about ourselves, and be resilient and successful and peaceful and loving and happy. Right. But so we got to study ourselves. It's a meta study, we call it. It's you studying you. It's thinking about what you're thinking about and feeling about what you're feeling about. And it's about me thinking about me. We're figuring out how do I work. The point is to learn how to respond rather than react to life. Right. Reacting is habitual, automatic, like, somebody hits me, I got to hit them back, right? Immediately. Right. That's your reaction to it. Or somebody hits me and I go, just a second, is this what I want to do? Is this the right thing to do? Is this feel correct? Does it make sense and feel right? So if we take just a couple seconds, 6 seconds is the biggest EQ trainer in the world. They say, take 6 seconds, take a few seconds. That's how long it takes for your body to go, oh, and if you just give it a, count to 10 kind of thing, just give it a couple seconds, then you can go, wait a minute. Okay. Is this what I want to do? Or do I want to react? No, I want to respond. You may still choose to do what you were going to do, but at least you put some thought into it first. And so you're responding and you're in charge, and doing nothing is a good idea sometimes. And but you're in charge. So we can not only survive, but we can actually thrive and do better and be joyous and peaceful and loving, like I said. So no matter what happens outside of us, that's a big deal. We're born with hardly any fears and no anger. Which is really good news, because that means that everything that we have, all the fears and angers we have now, we kind of made them up. We picked them up along the way, and we can put them back down. We don't have to carry them around with us. We made them. We can do something with them. So That's good news. That means we're in charge of us, right? To be the best, you must be able to handle the worst. Well, that's true, but I don't care to be the best. I don't care if I'm more I'm better than you at it. I care about that I'm better than me at it than I was before. I want to be my best. So to be your best, you must be able to handle your worst. And so if I can be real with myself and be able to handle my negatives, then I can do some pretty amazing things with my life. I can think better thoughts. I can believe better beliefs. I can feel better feelings. I can make better decisions. I can take better actions. I can get better results and live a better life. All with positive mental health by adjusting this stuff. We call it spin it to win it. We can adjust what's going on inside of us on purpose in a beautiful ways. And by the way, with studies are showing that people with high emotional intelligence make more money. They're usually happier, and they actually even live longer. That's pretty wild, huh? So the way it works is we got these two sides to our brain. Our left brain, which is we're mostly left brain logical, left brain focused society, ours and yours. We focus on the cognitive logical. This is what we learn in school, how to get a job kind of stuff. That's good. And we're good at that. We're excellent at that. Science is a good thing. We're doing good at that. We are not, however, very good at the right brain. We are not very good at our passion and our love and our understanding and our senses and that sort of thing. We don't talk about much about those. We don't focus on them. We don't learn about them in schools. Like I said, we don't talk about them. And so we are good in our left brain and we're pretty lousy on our right brain. And so we got to focus on that side. We want to balance the two. We want to balance them if at all possible. Emotions matter more than we ever imagined. They're super important. Emotions matter, so we increase the priority and the need to learn that and inside of ourselves. So, like I said, there's a science to it, where our synapses work and our amygdala and our prefrontal cortex and all that good stuff. That's true, and it's real, and it's happening whether you like it or not. It's happening, and that's the science of it, and that's a good thing. And what I want to add to it, what I want to specialize in is the art to it, is what do I do with this information? So because my mind works this way and my heart works this way, here's how I want to act. And that is the art to it. And that's what I want. That's stuff I can deal with and manage. That's stuff I can have control over. And together, the science of how it works and figuring out how to work it together are kind of magical. They're kind of magic. So it's all free inside of all of us. It's unlimited, as much as we want, anytime we want. And it's the number of things that it affects and how much it affects our lives is kind of magical. It's pretty cool. Pretty darn cool. So again, emotional responsibility, number one most important lesson of all the things I'm talking about here. Our thoughts, feelings, emotions, values, attitudes are ours. They're ours. And if I suggest right this minute from now on, you decide that they didn't do it to me. They don't make me angry. They don't hurt my feelings. I do that with my thoughts and feelings. And that is a very, very big deal. And that puts you in control of your life. Otherwise, you become, if you don't believe that, if you think they did it to me, then you become a whiner, blamer, victim, and you're going to it goes downhill quickly, and people start thinking that and start thinking that, it's not going to get any better and there's nothing I can do about it. And I can't handle this, quote unquote. I can't handle this, all this stuff that was wrong. And so I'm out of here. And there goes there. And it's really a shame, but it's a lot to do with people feeling like they're a victim because they're not in control of their lives. And I'm saying you are in control if you know about understand your thoughts and your feelings, especially. So take most of the responsibility from now on. Please do yourself a favor from now on. It's not some of them, it's all of them. People affect you, but they don't control you, right? So our nonprofit's called EQ for Peace. We're trying to get peace in the world. EQ, our world peace, it begins with inner peace, said the Dalai Lama, inner peace. And that's what we're doing here. We're starting with emotional intelligence. If I understand myself, I can bring some peace to myself, and then I can spread that. He said, peace must first be created within ourselves, then gradually expanded to include our families, our communities, and ultimately the whole planet. Pretty cool, right? So that's what we're starting from the inside. We're trying to get emotional intelligence into schools everywhere. And so that's why we're doing that. Inner peace, there's different kinds of peace. It starts with inner peace inside of me. Interpersonal peace is between me and you. We can get along. We can learn how to become we can learn how to manage our relationship. We can also do social peace, which is us, which is 3 or more. And we're, as far as I know right now, we're getting along as a group. So we're doing this right this minute. But social peace is about getting along in school, family, community, work, etc., and culture, and being able to get along with other people. And all those are teachable skills. Me, you, us, that's teachable skills. And we're hoping, and we're trying, that if we can teach enough people how to create peace inside out and around them, that we can have big peace, big global peace everywhere. We'll see. I don't know if it's going to work, but we're giving it a try, right? That's the concept. Anyway, starting with me. So starting with a face like this, I like this guy. This is a statue actually somewhere. I don't know where I got it. I just loved his face. Like, that's how I want to feel. This inner peace. He's just good. Everything's fine. Totally unscientific. I just like his face. Inner peace begins the moment you choose not to allow another person or event to control your emotions. They can affect your emotions, but they don't control them. You do that. And that's called positive mental health. Knowing that and being able to do that is called positive mental health. So here's how it works. First off, stuff happens, right? People do what they do and say what they say, and the weather does what it does, and the environment and the government and your school and your parents and your teachers and all that stuff, they're doing what they're doing. Okay, they're going to keep doing what they're doing. Whether you get out of bed in the morning, even if you don't, they're still doing what they're doing. So stuff happens, right? We then have thoughts and feelings about what happened. And now, warning, now it's inside. Now that's up to us. We need to deal with it because we just took it inside. We had a thought and feeling about what happened, and we take it inside, and now we can process it. So how that works is number 4 is awareness. First is start off with awareness. Okay, I just had a thought. I have a feeling. Okay, all right. And number 5 is acceptance. Okay, I had a thought, a feeling. Okay, I don't need to deny it. I don't need to lie to myself about it. I don't need to avoid it. It's just okay. It only takes that long to accept it. But if we then accept it, then we can do something with it. If you avoid and deny it, then you can't really do anything with it. So once we aware and accept, then we evaluate it. Is that good or bad? Do I like what I just thought? Do I agree with what I just thought? We can have thoughts that we don't even agree with, right? We go, what? And right, with ourselves, and we look at ourselves and evaluate what's going on inside of us. Then we make decisions. So because I thought and felt this, do I want to do anything about it? And remember that you can think and feel as strongly as you want to and not do anything. You can decide not to do anything about it. That's a big deal, right? That's a very big deal. And the good part is, even if you don't do anything about it, you chose not to do anything about it. And so that puts you in control of you, right? That's a beautiful thing. So that's the next step, is action, right? So we go, okay, we had a thought and feeling, we're aware of it. We evaluated it. We then decide to act or not. And then a bunch of our actions become what we do and be, and behaviors that we have. And that's the results we get in our lives. So the biggies are awareness and acceptance, and then action. What are you going to do with it, if anything? So that's kind of how it works. To sum it up, is our thoughts and feelings are inside. Again, we can think and feel anything we want, anytime we want, much as we want. But when it gets to outside, when it gets to be an action, warning, that now there are going to be consequences because other people are now involved. And so our actions and our results are outside of us. So just so you know how that goes, how that works. Again, I think we're good at our left brain. We're not so good at our right brain. We're good at our IQ, our logic, and our reason. We're good at that. That's what we learn about. That's what we focus on. We're not so good at the right brain. We want to balance the two. The guy on the left, if he takes off, he's going to spin around and crash. The guy on the right is going to take off and soar because he's got his IQ and EQ. Anyway, I was having fun with it. So let's talk about some skills, some actual skills. Boundaries are a big deal. Boundaries are a big deal. What's okay with you? What's not okay with you? Feel it to heal it is a big deal. Also, a lot of people, a lot of personal growth and emotional intelligence stuff even says, it's about how to avoid our feelings, our negative feelings, how to get out of them as quickly as we can, how to meditate them away. And that there's some cool stuff. I'm not cutting on that. There's a lot of cool ways to deal with our emotions. This one hardly ever is actually dealt with, is that we actually feel the darn things. Actually let yourself feel it. We've been teaching workshop for like almost 40 years now. And the point of it is to let people feel what they feel. If you're upset about something, then just let your body sometimes, and in the right place and in the right time kind of thing, let your body feel what it wants to feel. If you're scared, just stop for a minute and just like, oh man, just and if you're angry or if you're sad, just let your body feel it just for a minute, and as much as your body wants to feel it. And you'll be shocked sometimes of how much it wants to feel it, actually, if you let it. And then you can let it go. And your body will be like, oh, thank you so much. That's what I wanted. Just pay some attention to me and let me feel this darn thing. And then I can let it go. I don't have to carry it around. You don't have to carry around your pain and anger and sadness and stuff. You don't have to carry them. One of the great ways of doing that is to let yourself feel it for a minute and then let it go. Let it just flow on through. Okay. And like I said, when yesterday, I was feeling some sadness, and what I do is, rather than go, oh, I'm going to quit doing this, and oh, I gotta go do something else, or I gotta change things real quickly and get out of it. I go, okay, now that I'm in here in my sadness, what else am I sad about while I'm in my heart? And my heart is open. What else am I sad about? I want to get all of it out at the same time. As long as I'm crying and I got my tissues handy, as long as I'm doing it, let's go with all of it and see if I can express myself as much as I need to. My body wants to feel this stuff and let it go. And then I can, ooh, man, it feels so great. Really, really cleansing. So this is kind of bizarre thing I thought of, is that RPG is one of the most powerful weapons that you can carry around in war. RPG stands for rocket propelled grenade launcher. There's a picture of it right here. It's an amazing weapon that you can do incredible damage in war. Well, it turns out that RPG is one of the most powerful weapons that we can do in peace as well. But it stands for resilience, perseverance, and grit. Resilience, perseverance, and grit. RPG. Grit, I don't know if you know about grit. Is like, it's like that, gritting your teeth, and sometimes you're just like, this is going to be really hard, and I know I can do this. I can do this. I can get through this. That's grit, is knowing how hard it is and facing it anyway, and just with your eyes wide open and going at it. And there's now this also University of Pennsylvania. There's grit for kids, grit for teens, grit for adults, grit for parents, grit for moms, etc. Grit's a real thing, and it's just basically being able to get through life, the hardest things in life, and go on, keep going. You can do it. So I messages, if you're big on you did this to me, you made me feel this way, you that doesn't usually work very well. Try I felt when you said this, I felt this, or when you said this, I thought this, which made me feel this, that kind of stuff, which made me, I expect this, or I want this, or I have judgments about blah blah blah. If you take responsibility and talk from I, which is the only thing you actually know, then you can have better relationships and you can get more stuff done. Speak from yourself. Speak from I messages. Try it. Shoulds. Be careful of your shoulds. Shoulds are stuff a lot of times given to us, and we carry them around with us. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't cry. Big boys don't cry. That's a should. Girls don't get angry. That's a should. Girls shouldn't get angry kind of thing. Those are shoulds. Do you even agree with them? Sometimes we live on those and we don't even agree with them. We pick them up and we keep them with us, and they're not even, it's not real for us. So watch out for your shoulds. Notice in your mind when you're shoulding on yourself. And when you have lots of shoulds for other people, you should not, you should do this, you should that, and that's going to be tough on your relationships. If you do I shoulds a lot and I should not, those are going to be tough on yourself. So be careful of those, and also be careful of your generalities. Generalities are like, life is hard and I can't handle this, and life is scary, and men are dangerous, and people are disappointing, and blah blah blah. Those are huge generalities, as they're so hard to deal with. You can't do anything with that, right? You can't change life, you can't change the world, but you can change specific things, and you can go, okay, well, certain things in life are very difficult. Those I can manage. Those I'm going to deal with. Certain things, some things are great. Some things are wonderful. So be careful of your generalities. See if you can be more specific so that you can do things with it more specifically. Forgive yourself and others. Big deal. That's about taking the pain away from you and them, from between us. This concept of post-traumatic growth, meaning there's post-traumatic stress disorder you've sure heard of before. That means something bad happened to you, trauma happened, and now you're a mess because of it. Or you can actually go, well, this thing happened to me, and I'm going to make damn sure that I'm better off because this happened to me. Better. So it's post-traumatic stress. It's pretty cool. I mean, post-traumatic growth. You can be better because even though bad things happen to you. Empathy, wonderful thing. Number one skill, empathy. I run a bunch of social media groups on Facebook and LinkedIn, and we did a survey and said, what's the number one most important skill? Empathy, right? Care about what other people think and feel. And it's kind of a guess, but it's important that we be aware that other people have thoughts and feelings too, like I said. And it starts with you. Try to have some empathy for and compassion for yourself. If you don't have much empathy and compassion for yourself, it's going to come out on other people, and you're not going to be very tolerant of them. So you first. So if you love yourself first, so it starts inside of you. Thoughts, feelings, decisions, actions. Again, decisions are a big deal, in my opinion. We make decisions based on our thoughts and our feelings. We think we can be, let's just be logical about this and just do our thoughts and don't do any feelings. Well, good luck with that. That's much harder than it sounds. Usually there's feelings in there involved as well. So we be aware of both of them. Then we can make better decisions. And our decisions we have lots of choices. We have lots of power to manage our decisions, and that's where our actions become out of those. So one of the things we do with the kids in schools is to ask them, what are you feeling? What are you feeling? And that does awareness and acceptance at the same time. The first two steps at the same time, awareness and acceptance. What are you feeling? Not how are you feeling? That's physical, but what are you feeling? And having people just be able to identify. Kids can like, oh, okay, so I understand I'm feeling this way and I accept that. And I noticed that other kids in the class are feeling the same way. That's cool. That means that I'm not weird. I'm not broken. I'm not an alien. I'm just feeling something and they're feeling something. We all have feelings. Cool. I fit in. I matter. I'm normal. That kind of stuff. That's a very big deal. And there's lots and lots of feelings. There's lots and lots of feelings. Here's one with more specifics, and it's really helpful to be able to recognize and identify what you're feeling. I call it name it to tame it, and be able to explain yourself to yourself, at least to yourself, even if not to other people, is explain yourself to yourself. It's a cool thing. So we do check-ins. Babies are born with everything that they need. They just don't know how to use them. There's a ton of words that are feeling related. This link has like 4,000 words in the English language that are about feeling. So it's good to have a good vocabulary. And it's also helpful to be able to sum it up real briefly of positive and negative. So just sum it up. What do you feel? Joy, peace, and love. Those are different, but they're all relevant. And these are the big three negatives: fear, anger, and sadness. If you can deal with your big fear, your big anger, and your biggest sadness, just those three, they're just like not much at life can throw at you that you can't handle. So learn about those three, and to kind of sum up almost all of those other ones on the chart can be summed up into those three, in my opinion. And so try it. It makes it real simple, and it makes it so you go, okay, so what am I afraid of here mostly? And or what am I angry about? What am I sad about? And can I deal with that? Yeah. Yeah. Accept it. Okay. Yeah. I might cry for a minute, or I might get mad for a minute, but I can deal with it. Right. So learn about those three in particular. So emotional intelligence is the logic and the concepts and the language. Positive mental health is putting it to use, the strategies of putting it to use in your life. And the goal is peace. We're trying to create peace. The steps to that, like I said, are awareness and acceptance first, the first two, and then action, take some action or not. Allies is next, and that's about getting friends in your life, people that are on your side, people that are safe for you to talk to and to listen to, get people on your side. And then you be accountable, meaning you to yourself and others. You're accountable to yourself to, if you don't know this stuff very well, learn about it. Take some time, make it a priority for yourself to learn more about your emotional intelligence. That's being accountable to yourself. Be accountable to your allies. If you're going to be safe to them, they got to be, or they're safe to you, you be safe to them as well. Sometimes you listen to them, ask them how they're feeling. Somebody just asked me the number one question in the conference or webinar I just did after this. There was only one question: what do you do with somebody, it says that they're wanting to commit suicide? Answer: ask them, talk to them about it. What are you feeling? What are you thinking? What's going on for you? What are you planning? When are you planning? How would you do it? What's going on for you? What are you feeling? What are you thinking that is gonna that you can't handle, that is so big for you? And ask them about it and talk to them about it. And that's about being accountable to ourselves and others. And being accountable to the world is about knowing that most people don't know anything about their emotions, nothing. And so we got to talk about them. We got to bring it up. That's what I'm doing here in the middle of the night, trying to talk to you guys about this and bring it up and get some emotional awareness going on in education. Safety, 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 big deal. Safety, safety, safety. Find people that are safe for you, and you be safe for them, and you have wonderful relationships. What are you going to do about a problem? This is kind of cool. What do you do about that? What are you going to do about that? You got a problem. What are you going to do about that? Well, doing about it is an action. What are you going to do about the problem? Another question is, what do you do with it? Is a very good question, and sometimes a bigger question. What are you going to do with it? For example, I have cancer, I mentioned, and so what am I going to do about that? Well, I take the meds that they tell me to take, and I go get injections, and I go do what they tell me to do about the problem. Well, that's actions, right? But what do I do with it? That's a whole different story. Now, it's very incredibly scary sometimes. It makes me sad. It makes me angry sometimes. What do I do with it? That's a whole different story. And that's 24/7. That's going on all day, every day, whether I'm doing something about it or not. I've got to do something with it. And that's emotional intelligence, turns out. Name it to tame it, like I said, is identifying and being able to figure out what you're feeling so you can do something with it. Spin it to win it is knowing that you can change it if you don't like it. If you have a stupid thought, or you have stuff you don't even believe, or you have thoughts that you go, wow, that's what I always think about this, but this is causing me, this is not going well. It makes me do some really bad things. Change it, adjust it. You can change your thoughts, and you can change your feelings in that order usually. But you can, and you should, and you spin it, make it, you can. So try it. And then, like I said, about feel it to heal it. Feel it to heal is a big deal. Let your body feel. Give yourself permission to feel sometimes. Permission to feel. That, by the way, is a very good book by Mark Brackett, director of the Yale Center for Emotional Intelligence. permission to feel. It's a beautiful thing. You think about it. If you just give yourself permission to feel what your body feels, otherwise we are denying and lying about it to ourselves, and that doesn't usually go very well. I'm gonna skip that one. Okay, so here's the takeaways. Decide what that both your thoughts and your feelings matter. Both sides, right? Our left brain is cool, but our right brain matters as well. So both sides matter. Take emotional responsibility, ownership of yourself and your thoughts and feelings. That's a huge thing. And that gives you the power. We call it internal locus of control. They didn't do it to me, right? I'm doing it to me. Deliberately take some time to master what you're going on. You're going to be living with this stuff for the rest of your life. So I suggest you get good at it. So you might need to take some time and learn more about it and focus on it and give it a little bit more priority. So try asking yourself, what am I feeling right now? Whatever it is, it's okay, right? It's okay. That's awareness and acceptance at the same time. And it gets you better at allowing and understanding yourself and what's going on for you and other people. The better you know you, the better you can know other people. Share it with other people, please share this about emotional intelligence. I always ask people, what have you ever heard of emotional intelligence? And about my unscientific study, about half the people are like, no know what you're talking about. And some people sometimes, like doctor, I asked a doctor that the other day and they're like, no, never heard of it. They're like, wow. I said, what do you think that means? Well, it's about and you tell them it's about emotional intelligence, about knowing what you're thinking and feeling. It's about understanding yourself. It's about dealing with your fear, anger, sadness, guilt, shame, etc., like that intelligently. And they're like, oh, I didn't know you could do that. I didn't know you could even talk about that stuff. So try it. It's a beautiful thing. So ask people and talk to them about it. Each one teach one, EQ, I call it. And then try and consciously build peace inside of you and around you. For you and for all of us. The more of us that can create some peace, like I said, it's maybe we can have some big peace everywhere. So that's one of my motivations in talking to people. So, and give yourself permission to feel. Emotions matter a lot. We're trying to get 1 billion people practicing EQ and positive mental health, and maybe we can get some big peace going on. Maybe. So, all right, I'm going to shut up and. Thanks for listening. I hope that was helpful. I'll put some information in the chat about my email address and my WhatsApp number if you want to get a hold of me. And share, please. And I'll send Dr. Ravindra my a link to the PowerPoint. So if you want it, you can have it later. So, okay. All right.
Thank you, Mr. Matt, for the wonderful session. It was, as usual, you have rocked the session, and it was power-packed, jam-packed with lots of information, which is very simple to practice, but we don't practice. Yeah. So it was very nice. And participants, if you have any queries, you can unmute yourself, or you can use chat box to share your or if you have any queries, clarifications, feel free to ask.
There's my info in the chat box.
There are a few appreciation messages, but no queries. I think the presentation was also very simple language. Very well explained, no queries as such. Thank you, Matt, for joining all the way. And in spite of you not being well, you have joined and did a wonderful job, wonderful presentation. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation and joining us. And we wish you all the success and look forward for more sessions in future. And we wish you speedy recovery too from cold. God bless you.
Thanks.
Take care. Good night.
The suicide prevention is one of the most important subjects there is. So that's why I jumped on. I'm like, yeah, no, this is important. Let's go. So yeah, okay, guys. Well, thank you. Like I said, I'll send my PowerPoint, a link to my PowerPoint That's right. Upload it and keep spreading the good word, and let's talk to people about their emotions and such. And you guys get more comfortable with yours. That'll help you with other people. So, all righty. Take care. Good night.
Take care. Good night. Dear friends, we request everyone to provide your feedback for session 2. We request everyone to quickly fill up the feedback form for session 2. And so we were talking about suicide prevention, which is one of the leading cause of death across the world. And it is also the second leading cause of death of people aged between 10 to 34 in US and other countries. And on average, the highest rate of suicide occurs in persons of this age and also at older ages, that is 75 of age or older. So the impact of suicide in communities makes suicide a serious public health problem. In 2021, in the US, more than 47,000 people died by suicide, and there was an estimated 1.2 million suicide attempts, according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. So this is one death by suicide every 11 minutes. Every 11 minutes, there is a death that is committed by suicide. That is caused by suicide. So men were more than 3 times more likely than women to take their lives. Firearms are the most common method of suicide, used in about half of the suicides in US. Yet suicide is preventable. Knowing the risk factors and recognizing the warning signs for suicide can help prevent suicide. Suicides are 100% preventable. As already mentioned by earlier 2 speakers as well. Suicide is linked to mental disorders, particularly depression, and also substance abuse, alcohol consumption, tobacco consumption, and substance abuse, and so on. And the strongest risk factor for suicide is a previous suicide attempt. So the suicide prevention we need to understand the risks and protective factors and also the warning signs. Risk factors are characteristics that make it more likely that an individual will consider or attempt or die by suicide. Warning signs indicate an immediate risk of suicide. Protective factors are characteristics that make it less likely that individuals will consider, attempt, or die by suicide. So various risk factors for suicide. And these individual, social, relationship, community factors can increase the risk of suicides, such as, but not limited to, previous suicide attempts, history of suicide in the family, among the friends, substance abuse, like alcohol consumption, tobacco consumption, mood disorders, depression, bipolar, and so on, access to lethal means. For example, keeping firearms, pesticides in home, or having access to unsecured prescription medication. And other financial losses and all kinds of losses and other events, including but not limited to breakup of a relationship, the death or separation of loved member, family member, or a friend, or a colleague, or spouse, academic failures, legal difficulties, financial difficulties, and so on. History of trauma or abuse, bullying, chronic physical illness, including chronic pain, exposure to suicidal behaviors of others, social isolation, historical trauma, and other stigma associated with seeking help. In some cases, a recent stressor or sudden catastrophic event, failure, or can leave people feeling desperate, unable to see a way out, and become a tipping point towards suicide. A CDC report highlights the complexity of suicides. While a mental health condition may be a contributing factor for many people, Many factors contribute to suicide among people with and without known mental health conditions. A relationship problem was the top factor contributing to suicide, followed by the crisis in the past or upcoming 2 weeks and problematic substance use. About half, that is 54% of people who died by suicide did not have a known mental health condition, according to CDC. However, many of them have been dealing with mental health challenges that had not been diagnosed or known to those around them. And there are certain warning signs of suicide, often talking or writing about death, dying, or suicide, making comments about being hopeless, helpless, or worthless, expressions of having no reason for living, no sense of purpose in life, saying things like it would be better if I wasn't here, or I want out, or anything similar to that, increased alcohol or tobacco consumption or drug use, withdrawal from friends, family, and community and societies, reckless behavior on or more risky activities, engaging in high-risk activities seemingly without thinking, dramatic mood changes, talking about feeling trapped and being a burden to others. And protective factors, not limited to contacts with providers such as follow-up phone call from healthcare professionals, counselors, psychologists, or medical, psychiatric, social workers, effective mental health care, easy access to a variety of clinical interventions, feelings of strong connection to individuals, family, community, and social institutions, strong sense of cultural identity, public solving and conflict resolution skills. So a comprehensive public health approach to suicide prevention and also identification of several strategies that states and communities can undertake, including such measures such as teaching, coping, and problem-solving skills to help people manage challenges, expanding options for temporary assistance for those in need, and connecting people at risk to effective and coordinated mental, physical health care. So what we can do, how we can contribute? Ask someone if you are concerned about, if they are thinking about suicide. Studies show that asking someone if they are having any thoughts of suicide does not increase the likelihood of completed suicide, nor does increase suicidal thoughts. Be there for them. This could be by phone, by chat, online, or in person, offline. Keep them safe, reduce access to lethal means for those at risk, help them connect with ongoing support, follow up, give them a call or a message or visit. Send a text or an email to let them know that you are still present. Ask, are you thinking about killing yourself? Keep them safe, reduce access to lethal items or places through which a person can commit suicide. Listen carefully, be there and acknowledge their feelings. Help them connect to suicide helpline numbers. Stay connected, follow up, and stay in touch after a crisis. Developmental years between childhood and adulthood represent a critical period of transition and significant cognitive, mental, emotional, and social changes. While adolescence is a time of tremendous growth and potential, navigating new milestones in preparation for adult roles involving education, employment, relationship, and living circumstances can be difficult. These transitions can lead to various mental health challenges that can be associated with increased risks. As we have seen, suicide is the second leading cause of death among 15 to 24 years. Approximately 1 out of every 15 high school students reports attempting suicide each year, and it differs from country to country, state to state. 1 out of every 53 high school students reports having made a suicide attempt that there was serious enough to be treated by a doctor or a nurse. For each suicide death among young people, there may be as many as 100 to 200 suicide attempts. For example, for some groups of youth, including those who are involved in child welfare and juvenile justice systems, lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender, American Indian, despite how common suicidal thoughts and attempts, as well as mental health disorders, which can be associated with increased risk factor for suicide, are common among youth and teenagers, and there is also a great deal knowing about prevention as well as caring for youth and communities. After an attempt of death, parents, guardians, family members, friends, teachers, school administration, coaches, and other extracurricular So with this, we shall conclude our sessions. Other speakers couldn't join. They were also doubtful. And anyway, it's almost 3 hours. So we'll close it and take it up in further upcoming days. So thank you everyone for joining us. The registration form has been shared in chat box. Once again, I'm sharing. Those who have not registered can register. Those who have registered, no need to register again. And quickly fill up the feedback form. It is mandatory. Make sure you are filling up all the details correctly so that your certificates are generated. You can upload, you can download your uploaded certificates or updated certificates from the website after prescribed time. So hope everyone enjoyed these sessions and have lots of to take away. And let's all be the hope and create hope for the one who needs us through our actions. Thank you everyone for joining us. The overall feedback form has been raised. We request everyone to quickly fill up the feedback form. And see you all tomorrow for the webinar series, daily webinar series at the same time with the same link. Take care. Good night. After filling up the feedback, you may leave the platform. Thank you, everyone. We appreciate all the speakers and express our gratitude to all the speakers and participants for joining us today on the occasion of World Suicide Prevention Day. See you all tomorrow. Take care. Good night.